Hey guys, I've got my good friend Phil on today. He's gone from 69 members all the way up to 120 this year. So, Phil, mate, welcome. How does it feel, like pretty much doubling your business this year?
Yeah, man. Not gonna lie, it feels really good. I feel more confident, in the process. Obviously, you get to help more people, so that always feels good. And then I've also probably for the first time we've been open for next month. It'll actually be our 3-year anniversary. So probably the first time in the past 3 years I've actually felt confident that we're going to make it and
Yeah.
actually follow through and get to where we want to go and make only the greatest, which is our brand, really prevalent in the fitness industry all around. So I feel great.
We'll organize like a kick-ass birthday promotion as well. So guys, I only work with about 5 people privately, and Phil's one of them. So I feel like I kind of own Only the Greatest as well. I fucking love it. But mate, tell us about Only the Greatest, how it started, like how you kind of got here today, got in the fitness industry, who you guys help and things like that. So you got such an incredible brand. And I'd also love to know how you created the name, because
Sure.
it's a little bit different rather than that, cookie cutter fitness stuff that people have. It's a lovely name.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I kind of grew up as the fat kid, to be honest. I wasn't in shape growing up. I lost about 80 pounds when I was 20 years old, and it changed my life. So
Me
that
too.
came though. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. I
yeah,
didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah.
And for me, that came 5 years after my mom dying. So my mom died when I was 15 years old from weight related issues. I've never met my dad my whole life, never spoke to him. So I was left with my grandparents. Both my grandparents passed away in their early 60s,
Yeah.
all health related, preventable issues. And then, I found fitness a few years later. And at that point, I was literally living in a 12 by 12 bedroom in the back of my friend's house,
Yep.
renting it for $400 a month. And fitness was the one thing that took me from that when I was like 19, 20, 21 years old. By making a commitment to fitness, I decided to go back to school. I got a new job. I got a great job. I was able
Yep.
to quit my job after working there for 7 years,
Yep.
open my own business, and get to where we are now. And all of that being said, I equate all of that and everything that I have, which I know is not super special, but for me, it means a lot from where I come from. Like I come from nothing, literally. And fitness is the entire reason for that.
Yeah.
So I quit my job, created Only the Greatest. I didn't really, the name, I did personal training for a few years part-time.
Yep.
I worked full-time and then did personal training after work as like some extra cash, fell in love with it. Man, I think I can do this better than this gym that I work at. And all I knew was that I wanted I wanted an easy to remember acronym,
Yep.
and I wanted it to inspire people to be the greatest version of themselves. And, I remember drawing stuff out, logos and stuff, and finally coming down to, like I just said it one day, like Only the Greatest. And, our logo, this is it on my shirt right here. OTG, we believe at OTG that fitness is the foundation of your life, like the bottom of the pyramid. And
Yep.
once you create that foundation, the arrow goes forever. It's to infinity. There's no limits on your life once you create the foundation of your health and your fitness. Because I lost my mom. She was only 36 years old. You can't do anything without your health. So that's kind of how we got started, and that's really the types of people that we help. Most people here are overweight, people with low confidence levels. We do private and semi-private personal training only. We don't do big groups. We create an environment where people feel really comfortable. They're surrounded only by other people that are also invested and on the same journey that they are. And we just want them to not only feel comfortable, but confident in themselves and their abilities while they're here. And they leave feeling better than when they showed up. That's our number one priority. And that's the type of culture that we promote and the types of people that we work with.
It's amazing. You have such an incredible story, Phil. So, like, we have kind of similar. My mum committed suicide when I was like 2, and then my dad became a heroin addict. So I actually grew up with my grandparents, bud, but never had parents. So what happened, how I got into fitness is when I was 16, my grandfather had a heart attack. So I had to move from Tamworth, which is in the country, New South Wales over here. I'll bring you over one day. We'll hang out.
Yeah.
And then to Sydney to live with my auntie and uncle. So then I was like, I was pretty overweight as well. And then when he got sick and I thought he was going to die, that pushed me on when I was like 16, 17 to lose like 20 kilos.
Wow.
Kind of similar. It's pretty crazy, hey? And I think
that is
just hearing that, and like, you know, you have such a powerful reason why you want to help people. It's just absolutely incredible, mate. Absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for sharing that. I know sometimes, like, speaking about family and death, like even I get a bit caught up and a bit tingly.
right.
I really do appreciate that. And mate, so you've gone from 69 to 120 members. What's kind of worked really well for you in that process? Because obviously it's a really incredible result. What are some things that have made a really big difference for you?
I think for us, it's having a system in place where the clients feel like you actually care about them and that you're doing everything possible that you can to create not only a gym experience, but an entire lifestyle experience and change that they can encompass. And when you do that, it makes people look forward to showing up. It also makes people, when they do show up that first time for that consultation, that they feel your energy. And like for me, I'm kind of like hippie about this stuff, but I try to spill my energy over into the person during a consult and let them feel the passion. And by doing that, I think that you get the right people in the door. And also it's really easy for them to say yes. You know, all the time people come in here and they're like, oh, I've been to these other places. And, you know, you were the only person that actually took the time to talk to me and answer all my questions without rushing. So I think that's sounds simple, but to actually care about, you know, the people that you talk to, I think that's been a real game changer for me. And I always have, but when things start actually working, it starts to click. You're like, oh, I've actually been doing that. And here's why it works. And understanding the psychology of why it works has just been really, really cool. It's really fun as well to do that stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's like that. Gary Vaynerchuk has that quote, like, the best marketing strategy in the world is fucking caring about your clients. So
yeah, no doubt.
I see that flying around social media like once a year. It always goes viral.
Mm-hmm.
And mate, before we're chatting about how you view your sales as your sales systems and acquisition as a different part of the business.
Right.
You're going to tell me a little bit more about your thoughts on that and how it's helped.
Yeah. So, you know, as fitness people, we care a lot about fitness, right? We care about working out. We don't necessarily think about the same things that clients do. And not to put anybody else down, but I think that's something where I have, and yourself too, probably have a huge advantage is you understand what that person is saying. Like, I understand, I know what it's like to go to a party and not take your shirt off, right?
Yeah.
Because you're embarrassed. And when you're talking about working out and making someone have a decision and make a decision that they're going to work out and pay you money to do it is a whole lot different process than once you get them on the gym floor. So something clicked in my mind probably like late last year, probably last year, maybe like 12 months ago, before we started growing faster, that the client acquisition process is a completely different business. It's not just a different part of the business. It is a different business than client fulfillment. And when you get the mindset, or for me anyways, when I got the mindset that is different than fulfillment, everything just clicked for me. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I need to actually create a process for the sell of this client that is different and has nothing to do with the fulfillment.
Yeah.
They're totally separate. and it's just like when that happens, and it might make sense. Like if you're listening, it might make sense, but I legitimately remember when it, clicked in my head that these are different things, and just everything is as sales have gotten a lot easier and marketing has gotten a lot easier since I discovered that. And I just think it's so important to realize it. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, right?
Yep.
Fitness. I used to sell roofs door to door, and it's all the same. It's all the same.
Yeah, no, in our business, we did the same. We had like our marketing, like team, which was its own kind of business that obviously we want to grow the business. So they all kind of work together. Then we had sales, which is from someone inquires to when they finish their first 28 days. And then we had all our operations and retention. There was different staff, different checklists. There's different emotional high points. It's just really such a great point that you bring up. And you kind of say, that when you started to go through this change, that one of the things was kind of not being desperate for a sale or not caring of the outcome of what happened, which I think a lot of fitness pros watching this will put a lot of pressure on themselves if they don't close and things like that. So do you want to maybe pass on a little bit of advice to them around that and what you meant by not being desperate on the sales process?
Yeah, I mean, once I realized that, I feel like I got pretty good at sales. I feel like I'm a fair salesperson. And what I've noticed from
You're good, bro. You're good at sales.
Getting people to sign up that maybe necessarily shouldn't have, they're just going to lead to problems later. And when someone walks into your facility and they're not going to be a good fit, just because you're good at sales and can get them to sign up doesn't necessarily mean that you should, because they just create a headache for you later. So that's one point, because we've even had to fire clients before, that weren't a good fit. They made a rude comment to a coach, things like that. You got to you got to part ways with the client and give them a full refund also. Like I always do. If I fire a client, I give them a full refund, just to make sure there's nothing harsh, but anyways, that's beside the point. But
another podcast together.
Yeah. Whenever you're not desperate, person feels that. They feel your confidence. I mentioned earlier, like I try to exude the energy on the person. And when you're desperate, they feel that. They're like, if this guy's desperate, he can't be that good. Like if he's begging me to sign up, he's probably not that good at what he does. Yeah. And when you're confident though, they also feel that. And especially if you tell them, I used to be you.
Yep.
I used to be you at one time. And now you show them the confidence. If you're confident in yourself, the person is going to be confident that you can help them get where they want to get also. So not being desperate is just another term for being confident. They go hand in hand. So game changer as well.
And guys, the devil's in the detail of what Phil said. So one of the issues, guys, is if you sell someone into your program, and I'm going to do a dramatic example of this, but say if you're a fat loss client, you run fat loss, is staff have to continue to deal with that person. That have, for where I just want to cover like you've.
I'm losing you.
Had along the journey. You mentioned a little bit about that. You there, buddy?
Yeah, I am now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, tell us a little bit about what you're focusing on in the business at the moment.
So currently, mostly systems and how to scale while still providing the best possible customer service. That's our main issue at the moment. I feel like our sales process and marketing process obviously could always use improvements, but it's for our current size, it's fairly dialed in. The next thing is to get the systems in place where people still feel like they're getting the same service as when we had 60 clients to when we have 160. So it's a totally different. I remember you mentioned like around the 100 client mark is when things start to change a little bit, and then they're going to change again as you creep up to 200. And I'm definitely feeling that at the moment. So that's our main concern right now.
Yeah, but you've implemented some really cool things. We have a secret shopper report, and I was telling like a couple of members, I'm like, Phil put that thing on steroids. How you put it in your what's the system called you use? Is it one?
I use One Perfect Shot. Yeah,
One Perfect Shot. It's kind of it's a really cool like CRM. But so you've implemented some secret shopper. Have you kind of implemented anything else to make sure you get that really consistent product?
Yeah, I mean the weekly team meetings, getting with everyone. We spend at minimum 30 to 45 minutes all together every week, making sure that everybody's on the same page. I think that's a big issue. In the past, I've skipped meetings before for various reasons, and it always leads to issues because everyone's not on the same page. The other thing that I think that helps with that is the team feeds off of me and like my confidence and the things that I instill into them. So I feel like whenever I show in the meetings what I'm working on, it motivates them to do better also. And it's far from perfect because that's our biggest issue is that, the staffing thing. But I think having consistent team meetings, and then also there's something about, I guess maybe as an owner, you're really good at reading your clients, where the coaches sometimes miss that. So I can read, I know when clients in their head, even though they're not saying it, they're saying it with their body language, right? So being able to communicate with the team, hey, I noticed this, I noticed that on a consistent basis. That's another big thing that I'm seeing is very important in making sure that the whole team is on the same page and we're providing the best service that we can as a team.
Yeah. And you mentioned telling your team what you're working on. Is that like the direction of the business, what you're doing to improve it? And so you mentioned that by doing that motivates them, you've found, to work a bit harder. A really, really good point. Can you mind if you touch on that for a moment?
Sure. Yeah. So I just always, you've heard of like growth mindset versus fixed mindset, right? So I'm just always trying to show what a growth mindset looks like. If you always want to get better, these are the things that you do. So I'll tell them about what I'm doing in the CRM, how I'm making the cancellation process smoother, what I'm working on in the sales system. I tell them about what my like hopes and dreams are with OTG, what we want only the greatest to be one day. And I always find a way to plug that in there. And maybe they're annoyed by it also sometimes, I don't know, but I'd like to think that by doing that, it's giving them some motivation and also keeping them excited about the future of the business. Cause we are a new business, we're new. So we're still learning a lot. Pretty much every week something happens that I've never seen before. Half the time I have no idea what to do. Just think about it. We talk about it a lot in like the weekly meetings when we get together. So yeah, I'm hoping that by sharing the details in the back end, they also see that I'm working really hard and I'm not just some guy like winging it. And even though I kind of am winging it, but I'm really trying just like they are. And so hopefully that instills something in them as well.
Oh, mate, I think it's a really important ingredient for any staff retention. And in all of the companies I've ever owned is I want the staff to feel like they're in an exciting company that's going somewhere and they help people. So, we'll share testimonials, what we're doing to improve, our short-term, long-term goals, our values. And it's just such an important point. And I'm so glad you touched on it because I think a lot of fitness business owners who watch or listen to this will get great value from that. Is absolutely incredible. And mate, just to finish up, mate, you gave 3 pieces of advice. So if you have someone right? I told Phil, I'm like, imagine you're talking to someone who has around 60 members and they got to 120. Phil, what would be 2 or 3 points that you would give them to start moving forward to get to where you are at the moment?
I would probably wrap back around to what we kind of talked about earlier with separating the acquisition process from the fulfillment.
Yep.
The fulfillment part, by the time you have 50 or 60 clients, you probably have that fairly figured out, right?
Yep.
As far as how do I provide a good service, help people get results, communicate with the clients. So now go ahead and start viewing the acquisition process as a completely different business from the fulfillment. Hopefully you have some coaches that can do most of the fulfillment. Like even I still do sessions, but hopefully you have coaches helping out with some of the fulfillment. So you know what works for you. So now create a whole nother business out of the marketing and sales and the entire client acquisition process, and change your mindset around the client. And then secondly is, we talked about this already also, but not being desperate for sales. I had never heard, what was the term you used?
Commission breath.
Yeah, I had never heard that term before, but I've been in that myself as a customer, right? As a buyer. And I'm like, this is so annoying, you know? But when you get over that and you're not desperate and you're very confident in your approach and you answer people's questions with confidence, you don't hesitate. It's a no-brainer for them, because all that for us anyways, and our clients, all they need is someone to provide with confidence an approach that they know will work for them.
Yep.
How we do that is irrelevant. But by showing them confidence in a consultation, when you're sitting down with them, you're going to give them everything that they need and to pull the trigger. Once they pull that trigger, then we can give them our process. But the how is later, you know. And those are two things that probably really clicked for me in the past 12 months. That have been huge.
Awesome. So, mate, thank you so much for coming on. You're such a dream to work with. And I don't think we didn't really touch on it, but the hard work and effort that Phil gets in, he checks in every week. If he says he does something, he fucking does it. Mate, you are just such an amazing business owner. I can't wait to see what you achieve over the next 12 and 24 months. Thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I'll definitely need to see about getting you on our podcast. We have a podcast as well.
Oh, yeah.
Only the greatest podcast. We do talk about some fitness and stuff, and then we just talk about, lifestyle stuff, trying how to be great, stuff like that. So we'll have you on.
I'd love to come on and talk about how fitness changed my life, because it truly did. I wouldn't be here today unless I used to do some pretty radical, crazy diets and shit until I learned how to do it. But losing weight from being bullied, I used to hate going to the beach and taking my shirt off. It changed who I saw myself as. I became a much more confident, happier person. So, mate, I'd love to be on there. I'd love to be on there.
We'll make it happen.
Thanks, brother.
Yes, sir.